The vast chamber of the Galactic Council echoed with countless voices. Beams from distant worlds filled the ascending rows of seats. At the center stood Elder Vox, his azure skin creased by time, 4 eyes blinking in measured rhythm as he waited. "For quiet. I address you now with a warning," Vox declared, his voice carrying more weight than his frail form implied. "A new species rises among the stars. They call themselves humans." A ripple of laughter drifted through the hall. Grand Counselor Mira, tall and graceful, her silvered skin shimmering beneath the lights, stepped forward. "Honored Elder," she said, her tone gentle though her gaze was sharp, "we value your counsel, but surely this is trivial. These humans have scarcely touched their nearest moon. Their vessels are crude. Their arms sophisticated. Why would the Council trouble itself over them?" Vox remained silent for a moment. Slowly, he tapped a device upon his wrist. Above the dais, a projection shimmered into existence. It revealed a blue-green world, the 3rd planet of a yellow star, Vox said. "Observe. A century ago, they moved by horse and sail. Half a century passed, they split the atom. 2 decades ago, they forged global information webs. Now they hold permanent stations upon their moon and prepare voyages to the next world." "Many species advance quickly," said Counselor Drav, his broad arms folded across his chest. "What marks these humans as different? Not only their pace," Vox answered, "but their nature. They adapt more swiftly than any race we have ever studied. They flourish under strain. They twist defeat into advantage." He pressed the control again. The display shifted to their history, wars, calamities, and triumphs alike. "Most crucially," Vox went on, "humans do not yield. When they cannot pass around a barrier, they shatter it. When they fall, they rise fiercer than before." Counselor Mira gave a lilting laugh, echoed by others. "Respected Elder, forgive me, but they sound like reckless youths pretending at war. Their world is fractured by nations ever at odds. How could such creatures endanger us?" Vox's lined eyes narrowed. "I never claimed they imperil us now. I said only that caution is required. The last race with such adaptability were the Kreen, and we all recall their fate." The chamber fell silent. The Kreen were rarely spoken of, their empire rising fast, only to collapse faster when they defied the Council 3 centuries past. "That was different," Mira said quickly. "The Kreen were violent by instinct. What we see of humans suggests they value peace." "No," Vox corrected. "Humans value survival. They will embrace peace if it serves survival. They will embrace war if war ensures survival. That is their danger. They become whatever they must." Unease rippled through the assembly. Vox sensed their dismissal. They were too certain, too secure. "I ask only this," Vox urged. "Draw boundaries now. Make contact while we can still awe them with strength. Set rules before they discover rules are illusions." "We will consider," Mira said, her voice carrying finality that meant otherwise. "The Council thanks you, Elder." Vox inclined his head and stepped down. As he shuffled away, his aide Tall rushed close. "They will not heed you," Tall whispered. "They never do," Vox murmured, "but we have spoken our duty. Now we prepare." Captain James Reed stood on the bridge of the Pioneer, eyes fixed on the void beyond the viewscreen. At 45, he was young for command, but his steady hand and quick mind had earned him the helm of humanity's most advanced ship. "Anything on sensors, Dr. Lane?" he asked. At her console, Dr. Anna Lane's fingers flicked across the display. She shook her head. "Nothing yet, Captain. Only more empty space." Reed nodded. For 3 weeks the Pioneer had pushed past known space. Their mission was clear, go farther than any human before, to see what waited. "Keep scanning," Reed said quietly. "Something's out here. I can feel it." Commander Mike Foster, his second, looked up. Feeling things now, Captain? That's not like you. Reed gave a thin smile. Call it instinct, Mike. 20 years out here teaches you to trust your gut. Your gut better be right, Foster muttered. Earth Control's getting impatient. They want results, not more silence. They'll get results, Reed. Promised, one way or another. The bridge returned to work. Reed sat back, lost in thought. Humanity had reached for the stars for decades, progress slowed by vast distances. The pioneers' new drive gave them unmatched speed, yet still the void stretched endless. Then Lane's voice cut through the quiet. I've got something. Long-range sensors picking up an object. Not natural. Reed was on his feet. On screen, the display shifted. An object hung against the stars, metallic, with extended panels like solar collectors. What is it? Foster asked, rising. Unknown, Lane replied. But it's not ours. The design is alien. A chill passed through Reed. Are you saying? Lane turned, eyes wide. Yes, Captain. Proof we're not alone. Excitement rippled across the bridge. Reed raised a hand for silence. Distance? 6 hours at current speed, Lane answered. Set course, Reed ordered. Let's go meet our neighbors. 6 hours later, the Pioneer eased alongside the object. Up close, it was the size of a small house central hub, radiating arms, energy panels glinting faintly. No life signs. Lane reported. It appears automated. A station, maybe monitoring or communication. Reed studied it. Can we bring it aboard? Lane hesitated. I'm not sure that's wise. We don't know what it does or who left it. Exactly why we need to study it, Reed replied. This is first contact. This is history. Foster frowned. Maybe we should check with command first. By the time they respond, we'll have lost the chance, Reed said firmly. It's just a machine. After careful maneuvering, the crew secured the alien station in the cargo bay. A science team, led by Lane, suited up to investigate. Be careful, Reed cautioned. No unnecessary risks. Understood, Lane replied, excitement breaking through her earlier restraint. From the observation deck, Reed and Foster watched. The team approached the device. What do you think, Mike? Who built it? Why leave it here? Foster shrugged. Could be a warning. A marker. Stop here. Don't go farther, Reed smirked. If so, they didn't make it clear. Or they didn't think we'd get this far this fast. Foster countered. Before Reed could answer, Lane's voice came sharp over comms. Captain, you need to see this. We found a control panel. It's responding. Reed and Foster exchanged a look. On my way, Reed said, heading for the bay. Whatever happened now would reshape human history. What Reed could not know was that the instant his scientists awakened the device, a signal lanced across the stars reaching toward the Galactic Council. Elder Vox's warning was already too late. Far across space, Administrator Ben paced in his office on Trail 9, a lonely mining outpost at the edge of Council territory. Beyond his window, transports drifted in and out, hauling minerals from the barren planet below. You should report this to the Council, said Leah, his aide. Her green skin looked pale in the office light. Strange signals must be reported. That's the rule. Ben rubbed a hand through his graying hair. Rules. Always rules with you. Rules keep us safe, Leah insisted. Ben stopped pacing and turned to the wall display. A jagged wave of data pulsed across the screen, an alien signal repeating in steady rhythm. 3 days ago, the outpost sensors had caught it, echoing from the uncharted void. What if it's important? Ben muttered. If I report it, the Council will take over. They'll send some polished bureaucrat who's never set foot this far out. We'll wait months for answers. And if you don't? Leah asked, arms crossed tight. Ben allowed a slow grin. Then we investigate. My personal ship, straight to the source. If it's nothing, no harm done. If it's something worth knowing, he shrugged. Maybe we earn more than a pat on the head. Leah's eyes widened. Or maybe we get fired. Or killed. Live a little, Leah. 20 years chained to this rock, playing by the book. Don't you want something different? The office door hissed open before she could answer. Trell, the security chief, strode in, voice urgent. Administrator long range. Sensors just flagged an inbound vessel, not one of ours. Ben's heart jumped. From the signal's direction? Most likely, Trell confirmed. ETA 6 hours. Ben smoothed his uniform, the flicker of a smile tugging at his lips. Then we prepare a welcome, quietly, no council chatter until I say so. Trell gave a curt nod and left. Leah turned. To Ben, disbelief etched across her face. Do you want me to carry this straight into the moment the Pioneer arrives at Trail 9? Or keep Ben's thread separate for a few more beats before they collide? Disbelief. You're going to meet them without council approval. I'm going to welcome visitors to my station. Ben corrected. That's within my authority. Leah shook her head but said nothing more. Ben turned back to the window, watching the stars. After years of routine, something new was finally happening. Captain Reed adjusted his uniform as the Pioneer approached Thelian Station. Through the view screen, he could see it was much larger than the monitoring device they had found. This was a full settlement with ships coming and going. Life signs? Reed asked. Multiple species. Lane replied from her science station. Hundreds of individuals. The station has artificial gravity and atmosphere compatible with our needs. Reed nodded. They've sent U.S. docking instructions. Seems they're expecting us. How is that possible? Foster asked. We've never made contact before. The monitoring station, Lane suggested. When we activated it, it must have sent a signal. Reed considered this. So they know we're coming. Under common law and protection. Reed exchanged glances with his team. Humanity was not alone, but they were very late to a very large party. We had no way of knowing, Reed said. We're new to interstellar travel. Ben waved a hand dismissively. Of course, no offense was taken. But No must decide what happens next. Officially, I should report this encounter immediately. Officially, Foster asked, catching the nuance. Ben smiled. I've been administrator of this outpost for 20 years, Commander. Out here, far from the Council's central worlds, we learn to be flexible with certain protocols. Leah frowned, but remained silent. What are you suggesting? Reed asked. An unofficial exchange. Ben replied, you share your technology and knowledge with us. We share ours with you. We learn about each other before the Council becomes involved, and things get complicated. Complicated how? Lane asked. Ben hesitated. The Council has procedures for contact with new species. They can be extensive. Years of evaluation before full diplomatic relations are reestablished. Reed considered this. And if we agree to this unofficial exchange, then we both benefit, Ben said. You gain access to knowledge about the galaxy and its peoples. We gain understanding of your unique approach to technology. Unique? Miller asked, the doctor finally joining the conversation. Ben nodded. The modifications you made to our beacon, they were quite impressive. You solved problems our engineers have struggled with for years, and you did it with what appears to be relatively primitive tools. Reed felt a surge of pride. Humanity might be new to the galactic community, but they weren't without their strengths. I believe we can arrange something, Reed said. A limited exchange of non-sensitive information and technology. Excellent, Ben said, clasping his hands together. We'll begin immediately. On the Council home world, Elder Vox stood in Grand Counselor Mira's private chamber. The room was opulent with high ceilings and artwork from 100 worlds. A beacon has been activated in Sector 47, Vox said without preamble. The humans have reached our border. Mira looked up from her desk, annoyance flashing across her face. One beacon among thousands, Elder. Hardly a crisis. The signal was modified. Vox continued. The humans didn't just activate it, they improved it. The transmission range has increased tenfold. Impressive, Mira admitted, but still not a concern. The Centennial Gathering begins in 3 months. I don't have time for primitive newcomers. You should make time, Vox warned. The beacon is near Trail 9. Administrator Ben has a reputation for independence. Mira laughed. Ben, that old fool, has been buried on that mining station for decades. Even if he makes contact with these humans, what could possibly come of it? Fox's 4 eyes blinked slowly. That is what worries me, Counselor. We don't know, and in my experience, the unknown is rarely benign. Mira rose from her desk, her patience clearly at an end. Thank you for your concern, Elder. I will have someone look into it eventually. As Vox left that chamber, he felt a deep unease. The wheels were already in motion, and no one was watching closely enough to see where they were turning. Deep in space, beyond the knowledge of humans or the Council, the modified beacon signal continued to spread, reaching farther than anyone had intended. And in the darkness between stars, something ancient stirred, awakening from a long slumber. 6 months passed. What began as a simple meeting between Captain Reed and Administrator Ben had grown into something much larger. 17 worlds in the outer territories now traded openly with humans. Human ships, once rare visitors, were now a common sight at frontier stations. Reed, now Admiral Reed, sat in his new office on Trail 9. The station had become an unofficial embassy. For Earth, a place where humans and aliens could meet freely without Council oversight. The latest reports, Admiral, said Commander Foster, placing a tablet on Reed's desk. Reed picked it up and scrolled through the information. Today is up another 30%. Human entertainment broadcasts are now reaching 23 Council worlds, and he paused. Eyebrows rising. Is this correct? The Valari have adopted Earth music into their religious ceremonies. Foster nodded. Apparently, they find our classical music spiritually transcendent. Bach and Mozart are particularly popular. Reed leaned back in his chair. 6 months ago, we didn't know aliens existed. Now they're praying to the sound of our music. He shook his head in wonder. What's the Council's response to all this? Still minimal, Foster replied. They're treating us like a temporary distraction. Something that will lose its novelty. That's good, Reed said. It gives us more time. Time for what exactly? Foster asked, his expression concerned. The Earth government is thrilled with the trade agreements, but some officials are worried we're moving too fast. Reed stood and walked to the window. From here, he could see ships coming and going. Human vessels alongside alien craft of various designs. Humanity spent centuries looking at the stars, wondering if we were alone, Reed said quietly. Now No, we're not, but we've also learned something else. That the galaxy is more dangerous than we imagined. He turned to face Foster. The information Ben shared with us about the Council, about their history. They're stagnant, Mike. 300 species, all following the same rules, using the same technologies, thinking the same thoughts. They haven't had a major technological breakthrough in over a century. And we have, Foster asked. We've had 3 just from studying that monitoring beacon, Reed replied. Our engineers look at alien tech and immediately see a dozen ways to improve it. Not because we're smarter, but because we think differently. We're not bound by their traditions, their ways of doing things. Foster frowned. So what's our goal here? What are we working toward? Reed's expression grew serious. Survival. The Council might see us as a curiosity now, but that won't last. Sooner or later, they'll see us as a threat. We need to be ready when that happens. On the planet Valari, young Trin sat in his room, eyes fixed on the screen in front of him. On it, a human story played. Something called a movie about Asmo Group fighting against impossible odds and somehow winning. "Trin, dinner is ready," his mother called from downstairs. "Coming," he replied, but didn't move. The movie was reaching its climax. The heroes making their final stand. His door opened and his father stepped in. "Watching human broadcasts again?" he asked, his tone disapproving. Tiaran nodded without looking away from the screen. "They're amazing, father. The humans think so differently from us." His father sighed. "The council has warned about these broadcasts. They call them cultural contamination." Now Tren did look away, his eyes flashing with rare defiance. "The council is afraid of new ideas. The humans aren't afraid of anything. That's what makes them dangerous," his father said. Tiaran turned back to the screen where the human heroes were celebrating their unlikely victory. "No," he said quietly, "that's what makes them right." In the grand hall of the council home world, the centennial gathering was underway. Representatives from all 300 member species had assembled to showcase their achievements and plan for the future. Grand Counselor Mira stood on the central platform addressing the assembly. "For 1,000 years, the council has maintained peace and prosperity throughout our space," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. "Today we reaffirm our commitment to the principles that have guided us: unity, stability, and the gradual controlled advancement of all member species." Elder Vox sat in his designated place, watching with ancient eyes. Beside him, other elders shifted uncomfortably. They alone seemed to sense what was coming. "Before we begin the traditional presentations," Mira continued, "there is one matter we must address." She paused, and a hush fell over the assembly. "Many of you have heard rumors about a new species encountered in the outer territories. These humans have captured the imagination of some of our more impressionable members." Vox closed his eyes briefly. Here it came. "While we welcome cultural exchange and peaceful contact," Mira said, "we must also protect our way of life. The rapid spread of human influence, unchecked and unregulated, poses a potential disruption to our carefully balanced society." Murmurs spread through the hall. Vox could see their representatives from worlds that had benefited from human trade, looking concerned. "Therefore," Mira continued, "the council proposes a containment policy. A quarantine zone will be established around human-controlled space. Trade and communication will be limited and monitored. This temporary measure will remain in effect until a proper assessment of human civilization can be completed." The representative Ron Valeri stood with respect. "Grand Counselor, my people have found great value in human cultural exchanges. Their art forms have enriched our spiritual practice." "That is precisely the concern," Mira replied smoothly. "Uncontrolled influence leading to cultural shifts without proper oversight." Another representative stood, this one from a mining world. "Human technology has increased our production by 40%. Their methods are unconventional but effective." "Effective, yes," Mira acknowledged. "But have you considered the long-term consequences? Their approach to resource extraction differs greatly from our sustainable models. What might seem beneficial now could prove destructive in the future." One by one, Mira addressed the concerns raised by various representatives. Her arguments were reasonable, her manner calm and authoritative. To most in the chamber, she appeared to be the voice of wise caution, but Vox saw through it. This wasn't about protection. It was about control. The council feared what it couldn't predict, and humans were nothing if not Representatives from worlds already deeply involved with humans stood opposed. The council had spoken. Humans will be contained, their influence limited, their expansion halted. 3 days later, at the edge Afut was now officially designated Quarantine Zone Alpha. 3 council battlecruisers moved into position. Their mission was simple: Establish the first blockade point and begin enforcing the new containment policy. Contact approaching, reported the sensor officer on the lead cruiser. 2 vessels, human design. Just 2? The captain asked, surprised. Our intelligence suggested they would respond with at least 5 ships. Perhaps they didn't take our warning seriously, his second officer suggested. The captain smiled. Then this will be a simple demonstration of council authority. On the main screen, the human ships came into view. They were smaller than the council vessels with sleek lines and unusual configurations that didn't match any known design philosophy. Open communication channels, the captain ordered. Let's inform them of the new regulations. Before the communications officer could comply, the human vessel split apart, moving with a speed and precision that seemed impossible. One moment they were directly ahead, the next they had somehow flanked the council formation. How did they? The captain began but never finished his question. Both human ships released a cloud of small objects, hundreds of them spreading out to surround the council vessels. Weapons? The captain asked urgently. Negative, the sensor officer replied, confusion in his voice. They appear to be communication buoys of some kind. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The main screen flickered and a human face appeared. It was Admiral Reed, his expression serious, but not hostile. Attention council vessels. Reed said, we understand you've been ordered to establish a blockade. Before you proceed, I want a demonstrative method. The screen split, showing a view of space around the council ships. The small objects the humans had deployed were now forming a complex pattern, creating a network that encircled the blockade. These are communication relays, Reed explained. A new design based on your own technology, but modified to operate at higher frequencies. Right now, they're retransmitting uncensored information to every world within 50 light years. Information about Earth, about our technology, our culture, our ideas. The captain stared in disbelief. You can't do this. The council has voted. The council voted without consulting us, Reed interrupted. That's poor diplomatic practice where I come from. Now you have 2 choices. You can destroy these relays and prove to everyone watching that the council fears ideas more than weapons. Or you can return to your territory and suggest to your leaders that perhaps a conversation would be more productive than a blockade. The captain looked to his officers, seeing his own uncertainty reflected in their faces. Their orders hadn't prepared them for this. They were expecting resistance, perhaps even combat, but not this. We will report this to the council. The captain said finally. Reed nodded. We'll be here when they're ready to talk. As the council ships turned and departed, Reed allowed himself a small smile. Not a single shot had been fired, yet the message had been delivered with perfect clarity. Humans would not be contained. On the council home world, Grand Counselor Mira was about to learn that the storm she had dismissed so casually was now gathering strength at her very doorstep. On the far edge of known space, the science vessel Curiosity drifted silently. It was a joint mission. Humans and scientists from several council races working together despite the official containment policy. Administrator Ben had arranged a calling in favors from old friends. Dr. Lane stood at the main sensor console, frowning at the readings. That can't be right, she muttered. Trell, the security chief from Trell 9, who had joined the mission as Ben's representative, moved to her side. What have you found? Some kind of gravitational anomaly, Lane replied. It's massive, but it doesn't match any known phenomena. She adjusted the settings, and the main screen filled with a visual representation of empty space. Except it wasn't empty. There was a darkness there, a void deeper than the space around it. It's moving, Tell observed. And fast. Lane nodded, running calculations. At its current speed, It will reach the outer colony worlds in less than a month. Trell's face palled. We need to warn the Council. And Lane added, whatever this is, it's like nothing I've ever seen. As they prepared an emergency transmission, neither noticed a small detail in the sensor data. The anomaly had changed course slightly directly toward their position. It had detected them, and it was hungry. Grand Counselor Mira paced her private chambers, anger radiating from her in waves. Before her stood the captain of the failed blockade mission, his head bowed in shame. 3 battlecruisers, Mira said, her voice dangerously quiet. 3 of our fine ships, outmaneuvered by 2 human vessels without a single shot fired. They used tactics we've never seen before, the captain explained. Their ships moved in ways that should be impossible. And these communication rees they deployed, they're still operating. The captain nodded miserably. Our attempts to disable them have failed. They adapt, shifting frequencies faster than we can block them. Mira stopped pacing and stared out the window at the gleaming towers of the Council capital. 6 months, she said. That's all it took for them to go from discovering our existence to humiliating our fleet. Perhaps Elder Vox was right, the captain suggested hesitantly. Perhaps we should engage with them diplomatically rather than— No, Mira snapped. I will not bend to this primitive species. Their influence is a disease spreading through our society, that it must be contained, whatever the cost. The captain shifted uncomfortably. With respect, Grand Counselor, our military options may be limited. Reports from the outer territory suggest the humans have been sharing their technological innovations with several worlds. If those worlds stand with humans, then they stand against the Council, Mira finished coldly. Prepare a full fleet. We will not be embarrassed again. As the captain left, Mia returned to the window. For 1,000 years, the Council had maintained order. She would not be the one to see that order crumble. Not because of some upstart species barely out of their own solar system. Her thoughts were interrupted by an urgent chime from her communication console. What is it? She'd mended. Emergency transmission from the deep space science vessel Curiosity, her aide's voice replied. They're reporting, Grand Counselor. They claim to have detected the Devourer. Mira froze, her anger forgotten. That's impossible. The Devourer was driven away centuries ago. The transmission was cut off mid-sentence, the aide continued. We've lost all contact with the Curiosity. First time in her long career, Mira felt a chill of genuine fear. The Devourer was more than just an enemy. It was a force of nature, a living nightmare that had nearly destroyed all advanced life in the galaxy before Thielder's civilizations had united to drive it back. Verify this information, she ordered, and summon Elder Vox. Admiral Reed stared at the emergency message from the Curiosity. Dr. Lane's voice was calm but turgent as she described the anomaly they had detected. The transmission ended abruptly. With a burst of static. When did this come in? Reed asked. 20 minutes ago, Foster replied. We've tried to establish contact, but there's nothing. It's like the ship just vanished. Reed nodded grimly. Lane wouldn't panic over nothing. If she says this anomaly is dangerous, we need to take it seriously. Do we know what it is? Foster asked. Reed hesitated. Maybe. Administrator Ben shared some historical records with me a few months ago. There were stories about something called the Devourer, a semi-organic hive mind that attacked the galaxy centuries ago. The description matches what Lane reported. Foster's eyes widened. If that's true, then we're all in danger, Reed finished. Council and humans alike. He stood up. Decision made. Prepare Theft Fleet. All ships combat ready. The containment policy. Foster began. Doesn't matter anymore. Reed cut him off. If this is the Devourer, we'll need every ship we have, and it still might not be enough. As Foster left to carry out his orders, Reed turned to the star map displayed on his wall. Dots of light represented human outposts and friendly council worlds. If the Devourer was really back, how many of those lights would soon go dark? 1 week later, the frontier world of Vantas fell silent. No distress call, no warning. 5 million inhabitants gone in a single day. The council sent 2 scout ships to investigate. Neither returned. 3 days after that, the mining colony at Proxus suffered the same fate. This time, a single shuttle escaped, carrying terrified survivors who spoke off massive ships that darkened the sky and strange creatures that seemed made of shadow itself. Panic spread through the outer territories. Refugee ships fled toward the council core worlds, bringing tales of horror and destruction. The Devourer wasn't just back. It was stronger than before. More ruthless, more efficient, the council fleet. Mobilized but too slowly. Centuries of peace had made them complacent. Their ships were impressive, but designed for ceremony and intimidation rather than actual combat. Their weapons were powerful, but standardized. Every ship carrying the same armaments, using the same tactics. The Battle of Trail 950 Council. Vessels faced 3 of the Devourer's world ships. It was over in horrors. Only 12 council ships escaped to carry news of the defeat. Administrator Ben was among the casualties. His last transmission to Earth contained all the data.